Cafe Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Ria, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Edmond, Oklahoma, Debra Bowers, co-host Deals with Heels, a podcast where female entrepreneurs thrive. She's also CEO of Hexagon Media, specializing in small to medium-sized businesses. So, Debra, what are the top 3 issues female entrepreneurs are facing today?
Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about, really for me, the biggest issue when I started my entrepreneurial journey, which was late in life, right, in my 50s. And the thing that became very blatantly obvious to me was that I was in no condition physically, mentally, or emotionally to handle being an entrepreneur. And because of that, the first steps I took were towards my own health and taking care of myself. And so a big issue facing not just women entrepreneurs, but all women, is the status of healthcare in the United States for women. And we rank 30th amongst developed nations, right even with Kazakhstan. And in my state of Oklahoma, we are dead last in the United States for women's health.
Ouch.
So it's a big issue. And then the lack of reproductive health, with them taking away reproductive health and outlawing abortion, look how that can get the female entrepreneur right back into the household barefoot and pregnant again, right? It steps backwards. For a female entrepreneur, it's challenging. If you're a younger entrepreneur, I'm past childbearing age, so it's not a big deal for me, but women's health is, because as you get older, you have to take good care of yourself.
Right.
So for me, that is a big challenge that people don't see. They see all the business things and the marketing and the sales and all of the things that all entrepreneurs face. And for women, especially right now, we face specific healthcare challenges, whether that's reproductive health or just the availability of healthcare in particular. And we face, we don't take care of ourselves. We take care of other people first. Right. And we tend
but to
get
that point, you're
stuck
right,
in this
because
rut.
to start a business, get into business, you need energy.
You do, and I definitely didn't have it. I was an athlete, and I was used to feeling strong. And I had been through so much and culminated with the death of my mother, and I felt frail. I literally felt frail. And so physically, I needed to improve my health, and I needed to improve my emotional well-being. And I did all of those things, and it really made the biggest difference. So I think that is a really big thing that female entrepreneurs are facing today. Another thing that I think that they're facing, that I think all Americans and entrepreneurs are facing right now, and that is inflation and the potential devaluation of the dollar. Inflation affects all entrepreneurs. It costs more money to hire labor. It costs more for materials to make your products, or to even buy products to resell. And because women have more of a barrier of entry to become a business owner and to become an entrepreneur, all of those types of issues are going to affect them more, because they can't as readily borrow money. They can't as readily not take care of the family. They have all of those family obligations on top of all of those things. So they have extra barriers to get involved in business and strike out on their own already. So any additional factors that are going to play into that and make it difficult for all entrepreneurs are going to affect women greater. And inflation, boy howdy, let's face it, it's out of control, right? We're spending $1,000 more per household for goods and services than we were simply 3 years ago. And a lot of families aren't making more than that. So I think it's a great opportunity for female entrepreneurs to take kind of charge of their own destiny, but there's definitely barriers to it that they're going to have to face, and that everyone faces, but that will feel harder probably, like most things for women.
Like they say, it ain't easy.
No, nothing's easy, and maybe it's not worth it if it is.
Well, I don't know, but I don't think it's ever been easy for women anywhere.
No, it hasn't. And we face a lot of struggles these days. And some of those, in fact, it brings me to my third thing. And it may seem unusual at first, but for me, something that affects female entrepreneurs are expectations. And expectations of things. We have expectations of ourselves, that we're supposed to be able to be a good mom and a good business owner and a good wife and a good daughter and a good sister and a good friend and do all of these things, and a great cook and take the kids everywhere and be a successful business owner. And I think we put
and
those
have
pressures,
time for your health.
Exactly. Take care of ourselves, and expectations from society expectations, that plays a big part into it. And I think also, of course, family expectations, but the expectations of other women. More importantly than anything else, how we treat each other as women is critically important. And I think as a group, we're all kind of stuck in functional freeze. We know something's not right, but we can't take the steps to do something about it. And part of that's because we've been living with these heavy expectations on us that are heavier than anybody else. Let's face it.
Well, to the stepping, it's really literally to put on your heels and step out, right?
It is.
I was taking a look at your site, and I saw actually you started Deals with Heels as a networking adventure. You were just out there looking, right? I guess you were curious. You decided that you needed something. You hooked up with somebody. And that's the start of a business.
It is. Well, I was actually out networking, promoting my advertising agency, Hexagon Media. And I met my co-host and partner, Christina. She owns a company called the Declutter Queen. And she's a professional organizer, which goes really well with my creative side. And we met, and as you do while you're out networking, and we met and came together to do a one-to-one to see how we could refer each other business and how we could help each other. And, I'm not real sure why, Tom, I asked her to start a podcast with me. It's kind of serendipity. I had fleetingly talked about starting a podcast, but I just asked her one day, and I hadn't had a lot of serious planning or thought, or like, I really, really want to do it. It really wasn't like that. But I just asked her one day, and unbeknownst to me, it was her lifelong dream to have one. And so it was just serendipity that we met. We've barely known each other a year. We had known each other about 4 months when we decided to make a podcast.
I think that's
together.
the excellent part of anything. We really think that we have to know people longer. We really think that people can't share an idea that we might have. We are our own barrier. So it's just not just stepping out. It's stepping out asking very simple questions. And that's only for females. Same thing for men. But if you don't open up, if you don't go out, if you don't ask, if you don't take the first step, you can't take the second. And whether you're in heels or not. So, no, seriously.
Well, it heels. But you're right. I mean, it taking that step, and it reminds me of some sales coaching that I do. And it's amazing to me how many people are pretty successful by never asking for the business, never asking for a sale, never asking, hey, Tom, do you know anybody that could use some advertising? Never asking for the referral. And they do pretty well. So it's a similar thing. If you don't bother to ask, then you're not going to get it. If you don't bother to try.
Well, I agree, but I think it goes back to what you said at the beginning. Our major challenge today, what do we have, any person? We have our physical and mental health. That's it. It's us. It's we. That's all. And if we don't take care of that, if we become depressed, we don't even want to ask anybody. We don't think we're good enough. So I think your first point is what you said. We have to feel better with ourselves, and if we do, then we can step out. Then we feel better stepping out. We feel better asking. And the worst thing that can happen is somebody say no.
And that is such the truth. you have to have that mindset. It's really important. The first step is I can be better. I can do better. I can feel better about myself. I can feel better physically, and to take those steps to realize the things in our lives that are holding us back, right?
Well, what I can say to you and your listeners on your podcast is keep walking.
100%. Keep going forward. And hopefully you found your path. It's been a long time since I've been in my own skin to the extent that I am now. It's been over a decade at least. And so take care of yourself and you will eventually find your way.
Very good. So how can our listeners find you and find your way?
You can find my website, www.dealswithheels.com. You can also reach me at Debra, Debra, at dealswithheels.com. I love to chit chat about all things marketing and sales. And we are in our second season of the podcast now, airing, and we'd love for you to check it out.
Very good. Well, thanks for being here and more success, okay?
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Very good. And again, more information about Debra Bowers. It's Debra, the last name Bowers. Find her on TikTok, LinkedIn, and dealswithheels.com. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at their site, focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Till the next time here, Cafe and Networking Podcast.